Parsha Learning Group. This shiur is dedicated to the memories of Rachelea Bas Rav Chaim Tzvi. We begin this week with Parshat Vayetzei, with Yaakov and his family's escape from his father-in-law Lavan and the rest of Lavan's family. Turn to chapter 31, verse 17. Vayakam Yaakov, and Yaakov got up, Vayisa es banav, and he carried his sons, Ve'et nashav, and his wives, al hagmalim, on the camels. Vayenhag et kol miknehu, and he led all his cattle, ve'et kol rechusho asher rachash, and all the possessions that he possessed and he had acquired, mikne kinyano asher rachash b'padan aram. The things that he had acquired, the possessions that he had acquired in Padan Aram, Lavo Yitzchak Aviv, to come to Yitzchak his father, Arta Canaan, to the land of Canaan. Lavan halach l'gzozet sono, and Lavan had gone to shear his sheep, v'tignov Rachel et hatrafim asher la'aviha, and Rachel, Yaakov's wife, Lavan's daughter, steals the trafim that belong to her father. So, what questions do we have about these verses? The first question we have, at least that I had, is what's the difference between Yaakov's cattle, miknehu, and his possessions, rechusho asher rachash, and mikne kinyano asher rachash? Again, he seems to be saying the possessions that he acquires. We seem to have some repetition here. So if you look at some of the commentators, look at Rashi in verse 18. He says, Mikne kinyano, ma shekana, that which he acquired, matzano, we found it to be, abadim, servants, ushvachot, and maidservants, vigmalim, and camels, v'chamarim, and donkeys. What Rashi is saying is that Yaakov leaves his father-in-law with his family, and with three types of possessions. Number one, his cattle, also known as miknehu. Number two, rechusho, money, possessions, wealth. And number three, mikne kinyano. And what is the mikne kinyano? That is everything else. Animals that we would not include in cattle, such as donkeys. Servants, again, his wealth, his possessions, but not, let's say, monetary possessions. These are the three things that Yaakov leaves Lavan with. And this, besides for leaving, of course, with his family. Now, he leads them all out of Padan Aram, the land of Lavan. And where is he going? He is going to Yitzchak. Malbim points out that Yaakov, as we know, does not want Lavan to know he's leaving. How do we know that? Well, we see that right there in the next verse, in verse 19, when we're told that Lavan went to shear his sheep. Yaakov leaves when Lavan is not around, because he's running away from Lavan, as we're about to hear in the coming verses. But Yaakov does not want people to run and tell Lavan, hey, your son-in-law is escaping, because then Lavan's going to come back really fast, catch Yaakov, and who knows what he'll do to him. Maybe he'll fight him, maybe start a battle, maybe kidnap his wife and children, take back Yaakov's possessions. Yaakov wants to prevent this, so he wants to get as far away from Padan Aram as possible before Lavan returns from the sheep shearing event. So according to Malbim, Yaakov makes a very public display of leaving. He wants to show, I'm not afraid. He wants to make it seem as if he's not running away. He takes all his possessions, he takes his family, he slowly starts traveling out of the city, this big entourage with all his money and his sheep and his camels and his donkeys and his servants. He doesn't send his family ahead. He doesn't send his money ahead. He's not dividing up his possessions because he does not want it to appear like he's escaping. He wants the people of the city to think Yaakov is leaving with Lavan's permission. Lavan knows about this, and Lavan really couldn't care less. Of course, that's not true, but this is the appearance he is trying to present to the people of Lavan's city. Now Lavan is gone, we're told in verse 19, and Rachel steals the trefim. What is the connection between the beginning of the verse that Lavan has gone a 3-day journey away? Well, later on we'll find it as a 3-day journey, but he's gone away to shear his sheep, and that Rachel steals the trefim. Simply, the only reason Rachel has the opportunity to steal the trefim is because Lavan's not around. If he's around, he knows that they're there, and he wouldn't let her steal it. So this is the only opportunity Rachel has to steal the tefillin. Now, what are tefillin exactly? And why does she want to steal them? Let's look at Rashi. We are Rashi verse 19. First he says, Lavan went to shear his sheep. Again, he went 3-day journey away. Then he continues to say, V'tignov Rachel et ha-trafim. And Rachel stole the trafim. L'hafrish et avia nitkavna. L'hafrish et avia ma'avodah zara nitkavna. She intended to separate her father from idol worship. What are trafim, Rashi tells us? Trafim are idols. These are idols. Lavan served them. Rachel wanted him to stop serving idols. So according to Rashi, she thought, well, let me take the idols away from him, and then he'll have nothing to serve. And in this way, I will stop him from serving idols. Now, where does Rashi get that trafim are idols? Well, that's later on in the parsha, as we'll see. When Lavan confronts Yaakov about the theft of the trafim, he said, Lama ganastet Elohai? Why did you steal my gods? So right there we see that Lavan calls the trafim his gods, his idols. And Rashi is saying Rachel had very pure intentions. She wanted to separate her father from idol worship, and therefore she took the trafim the only time